Hello, this is Timid Falconite back with more Road to 1.1k. And today's match is going to be this Tier 4 standard match on Wharf 2 Wilds against Grimm Outlook. You don't know, there's a bit of an epidemic of Grimm alts on Advanced Versus by Web. This one's in pure though, because they have one Sonya match, so this is clearly a very casual Grimm alt, but yeah, he's a pretty good Grimm player, and yeah, I feel like his rating would definitely be a lot better if he was exclusively playing Tier 4, obviously, but that's how the Grimm alts look, and Grimm alts are fun to play against because they know Grimm really well, and Grimm is actually a lot more dangerous than you would expect if you don't know what you're doing against him. So it's gonna mainly focus on what to do and what not to do against Grimm. Mainly pick Jake. I don't like Jake against Grimm at all. Just because his movement powers, like Grimm is relatively crippled against movement powers. So if you're playing against Grimm, you have, especially in Tier 4, because that's mainly where Grimm's going to show up. The thing about Grimm is he has got a good amount of firepower, but his defense sucks completely. So if you're able to get the first strike on him, that turns the match completely around. Like on a day-to-day basis, he's gonna, if so long as he gets the first strike, he's gonna be able to win like crazy. He's gonna be able to just cripple your infantry with his infantry early game. It's a nightmare to face off against him. But as soon as you have like a little bit of movement against him, a little bit of extra movement, even one extra movement, you'll be able to do fine. So you basically want to play someone like Adder against him because he gets his little power pretty quickly and you can spam that for the extra movement and just zone Grimm out with that. Jess, I think, is pretty good as well, even though she doesn't have very good infantry firepower. I don't think it really matters against Grimm. So I feel like Jess is really good against Grimm just because she has that extra firepower into his non-existent defense, meaning she can just wreck him with her vehicles, and then her infantry engagements. If she gets the first strike for infantry, they aren't even that bad against Grimm. So actually, I say Jess is probably second best because she can't spam her movement powers as much as Adder can, but it's a close second best. Cole, no, he's, well, unless there's a lot of roads. Like this map doesn't have roads, but if there were roads, that could be like maybe something that you might want to use Cole for, but no. Sonya is pretty good against Grimm actually because she can push in, pop her superpower, and then you can't really push against it. Because if he attacks into her superpower, his units will just die. If it's tank into tank or infantry into infantry or something like that. Her day-to-day counterattack boost does not come into play against him. Like he does too much damage for it to matter, but yeah, it's something. And then Jake, I feel like, is honestly the worst person to face off against Grimm. Just because I don't like the fact that he has to save up for his superpower for the extra movement. Cole, is Cole better than Sonya? I think that Sonya's better than Cole against Grimm. And then Grimm's the worst. Just don't do a Grimm mirror match, for the love of God. That's so stupid. Like, all you need is one Grimm to make it turn into whoever gets first strike wins. You don't need to make it two Grimms. Like, it's just so unnecessary. It's funny, but it's just dumb. I would not play Grimm against answer. But Yeah. So here is the actual map. It's a base light map, actually. And it's a pretty old map. It's a pretty old base light map, so it's in Global League, obviously, still. It's been played for a while. I feel like Jess's win rate is a bit lower than it should be, seeing as it's base light, which Jess excels at. And just looking at the map, there aren't that many cities that Jake can really utilize his planes abilities against. And there's this shoulder area in the area as well that sort of hinders him. Because if you want to front switch at all, you basically are forced to funnel your units through the center here. So you need control of the center area in order to get in order to front switch effectively. The only issue is if you hang around in the center here for too long, you end up being super exposed, and you just end up, your opponent can just push in against you. So you can sort of control the plains area here with Jake, but like I don't like Jake in this match. And maybe because I played horribly against Grimm this match, but yeah. You have the guaranteed comm tower next to your base here, which you want to save an infantry for basically right before you engage the enemy. You don't really need to capture it early, and actually capturing it early is very detrimental to your capture. You should not do that. If you do that, you're just giving your opponent an extra amount of stuff to work with. There are these channels over here on the sides that you can sort of choke point relatively easily from these couple of points, and then the bridge a little bit as well. So artillery isn't the worst thing on this side of the map. But it's kind of bad against Grimm, because he can just push through points like this easily with his extra firepower. So artillery are a bad option against Grimm specifically, but on this map, I feel like there's a niche for them. They can be used around here relatively effectively. They can then below this area open so that you can push through this area a little bit faster from this base. So I feel like one artillery over here isn't the worst thing that you can do. But other than that, this is I'd say this is a pretty good map, all things considered. It's a big map. It's a bit bigger than Grimm normally likes, which is why he's got 26% win rate on this map. But yeah, that's basically it. So we can just get started with the actual match now. Well, yeah, because hold on, guys. I was gonna say something about this map and just picking a CEO for this map really quickly, and I guess I could do that while we're doing these early infantry moves. So basically, I feel like Jess is probably the best for this map, followed by Adder. Because it's base light, and Jess is really good on base light because because infantry are much less of a thing on base light. As you can see here, I'm going for the early comm tower capture here for no good reason. That's such a bad idea. Why would I do that? Anyways, because the map is pretty big, I feel like infantry engagements aren't the most important thing in the world on this map, and the area units aren't super, like, there's enough income on this map that area units are gonna occur a lot, but I feel like since this isn't like high funds or anything, Jess can deal with the area units just fine by herself. Like, you don't need to do anything with Adder or anything. And he's going for the comm tower here. He's basically just zoning out my infantry here with just his one infantry. Like, I can't move in at all here, and it's very frustrating. And that's gonna cause me to be a little bit behind on the incoming here. If Grimm wanted to here, he could attack into the mountain, and this is still an effective engagement for him once he has his cop. So that's how crazy good Grimm's firepower is. Of course, I got the infantry here to back it up, so that'd be a stupid move right now. Another stupid move is going for this early artillery. Like, I did it because I had just enough money for the artillery. But what I should have done was get a recon out here so that I could send it over this area to back up my infantry here and push in against these guys, keep them off of these properties so that I have an easier time taking this area. Because if I had done recon instead of artillery here, I would have been able to afford a tank this turn. And I would be ahead with the recon as well, which when you're playing against Grimm, you sort of want a recon or two, because you can't really do the first strike against his infantry. That's why having like Adder or someone is pretty good. Adder or Cole are both pretty good against Grimm, because they get the extra infantry move, which means you can first strike against his infantry a lot more easily. And you can sort of zone out his infantry with yours once you have enough power for that, but like not like this. And as you can see here, his tank's having a pretty good day right here. Like, he can't move in against these guys that much, but he doesn't really need to. He can just set. He can just keep on heading west, and then he'll have a field day over there. Like, I bet it. All I have in this area is a recon right now, which I definitely should have built a recon here if I were going to build up this turn. And yes, this artillery is keeping his tank off of me here, but like, I would have been able to do that with my own tank if I just had a tank of my own. Like, maybe not that turn, but like in a turn or so from now. Like, it would have been much better for that than the artillery. Like, this artillery has been, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's keeping him away from the center at least, so that's been good. But like, he's able to just move in for 3 on the left side of his tank here. Boop, 3 infantry kill. And that's another reason why Grimm's tanks are so freaking good, is they are guaranteed with 1 comm tower to one-shot infantry gun flanks. Like, you into you. Huh. I thought they were. Maybe not, actually. That's interesting. Definitely on roads, but I feel like on plains they definitely had. Okay. Well, maybe not. That's interesting. Okay. But definitely on roads. So I guess that was a bit of a roll with them. I guess it's a roll. I definitely remember having a different calculation at some point, so I forget what the issue with that one. But oh well. It was a roll, so it was a lucky roll, but like, it would still neuter my infantry anyway, so it's effectively like just another unit count lost. That's another good job engagement there for him. And then like, he's already able to push into this area here. And I have nothing to really counter him with right now. I use the recon here relatively effectively, but he's going to be able to just one-shot me with his tank here. That's also a roll. But it's not going to matter too much. But I think he's gotten maybe a point or 2 in ships, so like, it's pretty likely that he's going to just one-shot me here. And as you see, he does. And even if he didn't one-shot me here, at 1 health, recon is basically useless anyways. And as you can see, I'm mech spamming here, which is not a good idea against him. Like, you need tanks in order to deal with his tanks. It's just not gonna end up working out. Like, for a little bit, the mechs are gonna be able to guard each other at least, but like, his tank's sort of having a field day over here right now. And like, now I'm moving in a little bit with the recon, with the mechs here, But he can still move in with his tank from up here if he wants to, and then just dance around my mechs here. Like, mechs movement is so freaking bad. Like, unless you have, like, adder powers, we're not good by just spamming them out of bases like this. They need at least a transport in order to be relatively useful. Even remotely useful, they need a little bit of a transport, like either a copter or an APC. And on a base plate, you don't really, you like don't have the production or the ability APCs at all. So I move in here. I'm sort of consolidating my forces over here so that he can't really push in that effectively over here. Like, he's gonna be able to take out this infantry here, obviously, relatively easily. But like, I'm trying to keep him off of me as much as I can here. That recon did a good amount of damage. I think it probably paid for itself by just taking out this infantry, just because of how long he had to walk in order to get here. But it like just basically just paid for itself, and you don't really want units to just pay for themselves. They sort of want to come out even, more than even. Especially when you're dealing with a lot of units like this, in which like having a single thing in this area would be so much better for this area. And then I go for this, which I think was a dumb move. So now he's going to be able to just move in with his battlecopter for free against this tank. So I should have definitely moved in here to zone out his battlecopter instead of going for the infantry over here, because I can always just build another battlecopter if I want to. I go for a medium tank here instead, but like I could just move in with the tank or something to zone him out if I wanted to. And it's like not the end of the world if he gets a first strike against one of my infantry. Because they both be in the city. But yeah, he gets a free tank kill because I didn't have my battlecopter range. Okay. So battlecopter into tank. It's not like a guaranteed kill. But I think he fired with this tank first as well, I think. Maybe. I forget exactly what happened. And I'm too lazy to fucking rewind for it. As you can see here, my mech formation is like, he can't really attack into it, but like, he also doesn't really need to worry about it. Like, he can't really push into it, but like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Mechs are very good for like guarding your vehicles and stuff. And like this little mech formation is doing a good job over here by itself, but like all he needs to do is build like move his Neo tank over and he can deal with it relatively easily, or even just a medium tank, or even a single battlecopter. After taking out this anti-air, like yeah. This mech formation over here is really exposed. And honestly, I should not have done this move. I basically just sacrificed my anti-air here for no reason. What I could have done... Yeah, I should just have left it around here and basically pushed in as much as I can. And then just said, okay, you can have this city. Like, even though that would definitely give him the income lead here, I'm about to take this one over here. So I feel like the board positioning with this mech formation over here, I could have definitely used it to push north here instead, and that would have been fine. And then I could have pushed my medium tank sort of north-ish this way as well to deal with his tanks, to sort of cut them off a bit, and then sort of consolidate stuff over here. The main issue right now is that I don't really have a good answer to his Neo tank. And I'm not going to have enough money to deal with it either, for quite some time. So he's going to be able to push in relatively easily here. Like, this is where the first really costly engagements start coming in, and he's charging my meter relatively quickly, but like I'm playing Jake, so it doesn't matter quite yet. Like if I were Adder, I would have been able to push in against this guy, and then take out one of these tanks for sure. Oh, actually, this would have been such a good adder turn if I had adder, because I could have just moved in with the mechs here. Like I could have had my mechs closer to this river so they could have crossed it a little bit. This would have been such a good turn if I were playing adder, but I'm playing Jake, so it's not gonna be good at all. Like I could have pushed in like here like crazy as well. Like I have enough firepower here, but I could have probably pushed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe not into this guy. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like if I wanted to, I could have even moved in with the infantry here against this guy and then pushed in with the tank onto here to take out the tank here. And then that could have just been a bloodbath. Because you wouldn't be able to push in against this guy with just his one tank attack here. So adder would have been amazing on this turn. Jess would have been, I think Jess would be close enough to her normal power, but she could have done similar stuff as well. Even without the mech spam, like I would never mech spam with Jess. However, that would have been just suicide. But I have to consolidate over here a little bit instead. So he's able to push in against my infantry here, and he's actually able to just wipe my mechs completely, take out my tank as well. Basically, and like that's such a good push for him. Like that alone basically won the game. Like that, in combination with my poorly done mech spam, won the game there basically, because that's like a good turn or two's income just wasted there. Because I left my units in position of this shit for no reason. I mean, I was able to just wipe the floor with me. If I had even just a basic adder push there, would have been fine. I would have been able to do enough damage there that it would have made it sort of worth it. I'm playing Jake, not adder. So that's the issue here. So this is a sort of decent block here. I've got a couple medium tanks. And I think I have enough shit over here, but I can sort of deal with the Neo tank, but like he's got plenty of smaller units that he can sort of just deal with them. Like he takes out my helicopters and my tank there for 3 more or less. Does 4 damage to my tank here with his anti-air. Like that's an relatively even trade there, which is kind of insane. And then he's pushing against my property here. I'm not gonna be able to take that out, I don't think. Not if I want to keep my battlecopter. So I move in like that, and I interrupt the cap here, at least. And I got block rock going, so this is a pretty good block rock too. Like I'm able to move in here and interrupt both of these caps completely, actually. So this is actually a very good block rock. It's just I don't know what I was doing with mech spam, and the artillery's been fine because it was able to do a little bit of stuff with the artilleries. And then I move in like this. Like this is a very good block rock, honestly. Like that was good enough that it basically turned it so from a definite loss into maybe a loss. But I still have a lot of stuff to deal with right now. It's definitely going to be a long push if I wanted to get the victory here. Which, like, I had as you can see here, I'm like 4k income ahead, and he's got infantry in position to start taking this stuff back eventually. But really, I think what ended me here was this move right here. Like, this missile build right here was not a good idea. Definitely should have gone for an anti-air here instead. I feel like that was a misclick. Yeah, we're right next to one another, so that was definitely a misclick. So I go for the artillery here. If I had built anti-air here, I would have been able to get a battlecopter and a tank here, which is why I'm sort of... I feel like which is sort of why well, you'll see in a second, but... Like, if I had another anti-air here, I would have been able to push in against these guys a lot easier. And you wouldn't be able to just roll across me for 3 like this. If I had kept on playing, I feel like my next walk rock would have definitely crushed him. But I just resigned here. Because, like, I'm behind basically fixing unit count. A good 10k in income right now. I mean, in value right now. And yeah, that's basically it. Like, I could have kept fighting for sure here. But after doing this missile misplay, it's not the greatest. Like, I could have done that stuff last turn, and then this turn I could have either built a Neo tank and an infantry, or gone for a bomb or double infantry here. And then I could just moved in over this way with most of my units to deal with this Neo tank. I think the Neo tank here would have been a pretty good play as well. Just put... Wow, because you got the Neo tank here, so I can't really block against it super effectively. I mean, but he's definitely going to be able to take one of these cities, and he's going to push in against these guys as well, relatively easily. So, I feel like he's definitely going to... He's probably going to overwhelm me slowly anyways, but, like, I feel like this is maybe a bit of a premature resign, but I think he would have definitely ended up winning for sure. Just due to how badly I started. I played at the start, going for mech investment, which is a waste. I think the early infantry artillery was a bad play, but it wasn't like that bad because I was able to do a good amount with it anyways. And yeah, the early recon, I think, at least paid for itself, but like, I could have done so much more of it over here for sure. That building it here instead of here cost me like at least 2 or 3. It basically made the recon useless, honestly. Yeah, that's how you play against Grimm. Basically, if you have extra movement against him, you do a good job. On the days you don't have that extra movement, he sort of wipes the floor with you, especially if he has a unit count advantage. So you have to be very careful of that. Is to make sure that he isn't able to just build up a ball of units and then slowly push it forward. Because once he gets a ball going, you can't really push into it. Because yeah, once he starts his ball rolling, you can't really push into it unless you basically take it out. Or at least you take out more than, like, I'd say 3/4 of it. If you take out 3/4 of his ball with one push, that's enough. If you're able to push in like a little bit against his ball, you shouldn't even bother. You should just build up more units, build up more gauge, and then prepare a bigger push later. Because all you really need to do to cripple Grimm is one good push. And if you have extra move like Jake has, or Adder has especially, you can do that a lot more often. So that's sort of how you want to play against Grimm. That's not what I did today, but yeah, that's it for today's match. Next week is going to be this tier 1 fog match on Vandalism. It's going to be Hawk versus Hawk, and it's going to show off this map, which is the SS Lake map, and it's got, you start with 2 Freelanders in each lake, which is very interesting. It's not like base light or anything, and it's fog, so it's fun. I think it's a pretty fun map. It's not in Global League or anything anymore, so there's that. But you can look forward to this match next week. I guess like, subscribe, and all that nonsense, and I will see you guys then. Bye.